Right, hello and welcome everyone. Goon is Therapy, back again with Dave.
Yes.
Dave speaks football.
Yes.
We're here today. Dan's away again, but he'll be back again soon. We're going to touch on what's happened since we've been away.
Since we last spoke. Yeah.
I'd say the biggest news has got to be Ange being sacked. What do you reckon, Dave? Right decision, wrong decision?
From someone who had Ten Hag, right?
Yeah.
Not meant to make this about Man United again. I need to talk about Tottenham. But Ten Hag won the FA Cup in style, right? Against City. Do you remember that game?
And I think you beat Liverpool as well on the way, didn't you?
Yeah,
4-3.
that mad on the break.
That was,
He won it in style,
yeah,
right?
he did.
Big Ange didn't win the Europa League in style.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
But he won it.
He won
For
it.
Tottenham, that's major.
Of course.
United kept Ten Hag based on winning that. And
didn't work.
Bad decision. So I think it's the right decision for Tottenham to sack him. Although his replacement,
Exactly.
I could probably, hoping he's done great, right? And a lot of the players he's got and signed and made, a lot of teams have bought, right? I mean, Tony's gone flipping Saudi, but he was linked with Arsenal.
Yeah.
He could have gone anywhere. Now there's this talk about Mbeumo, but before we go there, I don't think Frank lasts a year there. I just think Tottenham, I don't know who's going to go there.
I don't think it's the right fit. What I will say is I think they should have given Ange. I think they should have actually...
You think they should have stuck with him?
I think they should have stuck with him. Not necessarily a new contract, but I feel like despite the 21 losses, I feel like he had kind of given up on the league, right? Because if you finish... I know it's terrible finishing 17th, but wherever you finish, I know, but I do feel like he'd given up. They were never going to get Europe. Where were they going to finish? It was either going to be 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th. It ended up 17th. They were never really going to get relegated either because of how bad the other teams were. Yeah, very lucky. But I just feel like to win Spurs' first trophy since 2008, a European trophy at that as well. And I feel like the players were playing for him in them Europa League games. I know they had probably the easiest run ever in the Europa League, but I feel like...
Oh, mate, did you see the teams that...
Of course, Bodo Klimt.
I mean we beat...
We
had a few teams that were known.
It was such an easy run. It was unbelievable.
We had Real Sociedad, Leon. I mean, they're not elite, are they?
But they had...
mate,
who else did they play before Bodo Klimt?
I don't know. Like, most of the teams sounded like Chris packets to me. It was like...
Frankfurt, I think they beat.
Quavers FC, What's It AFC. The thing was a mess, bruv. I looked at the list.
It was the worst.
But they beat Man United in the end.
Yeah, exactly.
So fair play.
I just feel like there's obviously going to be a bit of a feel-good factor at the club, right? But then again, in saying that, after winning the Europa League, they went and got stuff for one at home by Brighton. You would have thought that they would go on and win. Do you know what I mean? I kind of wanted him to stay as an Arsenal fan because I would love to see him playing that high line in the Champions League. Because Spurs are going to be in the Champions League. He didn't play that against you guys now.
Fair play to him, though.
Which is another...
On the last podcast we had, I rate that. It is what it is.
He showed he can adapt as well. So, I don't know. I just feel like if I was a Spurs fan, God forbid, but if I was, I would have wanted to give the man another year, personally.
I think it's the right decision because of what happened with Ten Hag. Obviously, Man United Ten Hag won an FA Cup and a Carabao Cup and still got the sack.
Yeah,
eventually.
As Gary Neville says,
I didn't say this
Man
on
United.
I didn't say exactly. I didn't say this on the last time we spoke. I think Ten Hag would have won that final.
Yeah.
Against Spurs. Yeah, I just think he would have put he was 2-0 in finals, right?
Yeah.
Right?
And he's definitely won a few Dutch Cups with
yeah, well, Mickey Mouse Cups, whatever.
Ajax
that league's just sorry. Anyone you sign from that league. I mean, you guys pulled Van Persie out of that league. Fair play. We pulled Van Nistelrooy out of that league.
Remember Kesman?
Yeah, lately, the amount of players he bought from that league.
Suarez did come from there, though.
Ajax,
Suarez,
isn't it?
Yeah, 23 million.
There's a few diamonds, isn't there?
Yeah,
but majority of players that come from that league is shocking. But the point is, Ten Hag was 2-0, bruv, in finals. He got the team to perform in finals. I think he would have won that final.
Yeah.
Amorim, let's not touch back on him, but shocking.
Yeah, we had enough of him on the
shocking, exactly, on the last one.
I will say as well, I just feel like he's a good manager, very good manager.
Who?
Thomas Frank. But I mean, the contrast, the difference, because he plays very direct, defensive and direct with Brentford, which is with the players he's got. And he gets these players scoring goals. Mbeumo's got 20 goals last season. Tony's hit the 20 mark before. But they're a very compact team. They play different to anyone else. He doesn't try and play like Pep. You know, he plays.
Thank God.
But his system.
I said that on the last one.
His system is completely different to Big Ange. The two different spectrums. So for the players to then get used to playing this system from playing that high line at ultra attacking football with Big Ange to this.
That's what a manager's supposed to do.
Yeah, of course.
Go in, implement his style. Mate, when I pick up a client, right, I've got to implement my style and get them results. Just because last man didn't get them results, I mean, I'm not going to.
No, of course.
So you got to step in and do your thing.
Yeah.
That makes you a big manager. I don't think Frank's a big enough. I mean, you don't need to be a big personality to be a Tottenham manager, but
I think he's got a bit of personality about him. He's quite funny in the interviews and that. Thomas Frank.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was a bit of
a
boring appointment. But I do understand that they've appointed Jose, they've appointed Conte, they've done all that.
Yeah.
He's going in that direction. I think it was harsh sacking Ange, but I think it was the right
thing
decision.
Is, they always say they want to see really attacking football, and Thomas Frank is not going to give you that. He's not going to give you
He's
that.
done well with Brentford.
He's done
very
well.
Every time they've played Man United, they've battered us.
Yeah.
We get battered.
They do well against Manchester
3-4-0 every time.
Because of the way they play.
Yeah. I don't think he'll do well at Tottenham.
Yeah.
I think it's cursed. But spinning off that, Mbeumo, I think last time we spoke,
It looked
we thought like he was like Cunha.
It was a done deal,
like Cunha, they call him my man Tuna. That was hard last time.
Old Tuna.
Yeah, old Tuna. Yeah. We've signed old Tuna, but we thought Mbeumo was guaranteed.
Yeah, it looked that way. Now,
but apparently, Geezer's asking for a lot of money.
And Thomas Frank, obviously.
He looks about 60 years old.
Thomas
Mbeumo,
Frank going to Tottenham, he's obviously said, look, if Mbeumo's going for 60 million, that's the man I want.
I get it, but Tottenham don't pay those wages anyway. And I was shocked he was demanding that. Like I said, he looks about 60 years old, bro. I can't understand how you can demand.
But he is a top Premier League player now.
He's proven, isn't it?
He's proven. He's just got 20 goals.
He's proven. It's gone quiet, and the last news I saw.
But who do you think he's? We're gonna come on to Arsenal or Manchester United, which is. But who do you think has a bigger pool now? Spurs.
Oh, come on.
Spurs in the Champions League or United? Not in Europe.
Listen, I don't want to dwell too much into this because I want to save my thoughts on Man United's pull.
Yeah.
For getting players in for the Man United Arsenal one we're going to do next, right? There is no comparison on Man United and Spurs.
Even though they're playing in the Champions League?
No matter where they're playing, man. It's Spurs.
Yeah.
That's it. It's end of story. They still finished 17th.
Do you not think that Mbeumo could, because he's going to be playing with a manager who's got the best out of him, a manager who got him 20 goals, he could look and think, I'll go to London, play in the Champions League.
I understand why he would want to follow a manager. I understand why he'd want to follow a manager and think this is a step up from Brentford.
Yeah.
It's a slow step up. In his mind, or his agent could be saying, look, you've gone from Brentford to Tottenham, you smash it there, you could go Real Madrid.
Yeah.
I don't think he ever will, but
yeah.
What I'm saying,
he is only 26 though, surprisingly.
Like I said, he looks about 80 years old.
He looks older,
yeah. I see him with hair the other day.
Did you?
Yeah, online when I searched him. I searched it for a picture. You know when you edit stuff, yeah?
Yeah.
And bruv, the geezer's got nothing now, poor geezer.
He's got a good beard though, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. He did better than mine. Anyway, Mbeumo, you ask me Spurs or Man United? Mate, it's a no question. Like, you have to pick Man United. But I get it. Like, Man United, who wants to go there? Who wants to go there?
But leaking roofs.
Yeah, that's what we're going to come on to.
Leaking roofs. We'll jump on it now. Because obviously,
to jump before we go there, where do you think Mbeumo's going?
I think he'll end up at United.
You think he'll end up at United?
I think he'll end up at United. Simply for the fact is you're going to pay him more money than Spurs.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're Man United. I think obviously with Frank, it's a similar situation with Gyokeres. Because obviously his manager who got the best out of him, he's still scoring goals now, but the man who pretty much made him what he is at United. But it looks like he's told everyone that his preference is Arsenal. And Arsenal then go and make a bid of like 39 million.
You man, it's just the worst cheapskates.
Honestly, mate. It's embarrassing.
You did it with Suarez back in the day.
It's embarrassing.
What was it, 40 million and £1?
Yeah, embarrassing. Had they just gone 41 million, we would have got him, and we probably would have won a league.
Mate, Suarez, go 50 million for the geezer. What was it? That was his buyout clause, 40 million.
Yeah, and
then they put a pound on top of it.
Go to any team that was playing in the Champions League.
Yeah.
If you bid over 40 million.
And they put a pound on top of it to trigger.
This is another thing that we'll come on to, these handshakes that they have, because Gyokeres has had an agreement in principle, but it wasn't signed in the contract. And it was that he could go for like 50 million, something less than his release clause, 10 million
handshakes
less.
rather not me in a contract.
And I'm not sure if I'm right, but I think there's a new sporting director and he's not honouring that deal.
At Sporting.
Yeah. So he feels like he's being priced out of a move now. And apparently, from what we're seeing from credible sources, from credible sources, he said he wants Arsenal. But whether Arsenal are just using him as bait to get Sesko's price down, we don't know. I don't want to sound like any Iluko now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Who would you rather have?
It's a very, very tough question. I honestly have to say I'd be happy with either because I feel like they'd both score goals. Gyokeres obviously gives you goals, right? We know his goal scoring is unbelievable. The guy's got like 70 goals in 70 games. So it's phenomenal. It's not a one season wonder. He's been doing it for 2 or 3 years now. And he would excite me in the shape that he's in. He's in really good shape.
He's a big lad.
Really good shape. Yeah. So
both of them are.
Both of them are, exactly. But I have to be honest, I do feel like Sesko would suit our game more. Now, some people are going to say, what do you mean by that? We need goals. But from I can only say, bro, I'm going by like YouTube videos. And I've watched a lot of videos of them, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there of each of them in my spare time when I'm thinking, who would I like to sign? And for me, Sesko, he's just got everything that would work in that Arsenal system.
You think he suits your system?
Gyokeres is a goal scorer, but we're not just getting it and cutting it back. You know, we have build-up play where the strikers get involved, they link up. He comes deep, he wins the ball. We've got our set pieces. He's 6'5", so you can imagine him with from corners. I feel like I get more excited by Gyokeres, but
feel like that's the more
in my head. I feel like the more
glamorous signing.
Yeah, he is the more glamorous signing.
But you think deep down,
Sesko
is the guy for
would
you.
Probably fit more in our system. But honestly, I'd take either one of them.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So it is a tough one.
And you think Gyokeres is going to go to Arsenal? Yeah. You think he'd pick Arsenal ahead of United?
I'm pretty sure that any player right now, and I say this with a smile on my face.
Yeah. But why'd you say it with a smile?
Because obviously we're Arsenal, Man United, and we've had our banter
for years.
But I believe that if we could go back to the 2000s, even then it was hard who you're going to pick, Arsenal or Manchester United, right? Because they were both obviously winning league titles, and they were the two top teams in the country.
You think it's
no
question.
Now there's no way in hell any top player chooses Manchester United over Arsenal. It just doesn't happen. Manchester United that finished 15th with no Champions League football. They're having leaks at Old Trafford. There's mice. It's mice infested, right? It's everything is just about the club. The club is rock bottom. It's the worst it's ever been. It's the worst ever Manchester United side. Your own manager has said that. It's a complete shit show. Let's have it right. So there's no way someone is choosing that to go over there to a team that's going to be fighting, in your own words as well, scraping to get in the top 10 next season. When we all know, no matter what anyone says, Arsenal are going to be right in that title race next year. We've just made the last four of the Champions League. So there's no way anyone in the right mind, unless it's simply for money, or maybe someone who was a huge Man United fan, possibly that could sway them. But I don't think any top player now chooses Manchester United over Arsenal. I think that's where we're at.
I'm going to be honest. You know, I always am, right? I love Man United, and the banter aside, I'm going to be very honest. I think that Ronaldo interview when, he basically left United.
Yeah.
And the geezer was basically saying in not so many words, he was basically saying in the swimming pool there, he's basically cutting his foot every time he goes in the swimming pool. The tiles have come up on the swimming pool. He goes in the sauna, it's bloody freezing cold.
Yeah. He said they had the same facilities.
Yeah.
20
That's what
years
I'm saying.
later.
He never said what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But that's practically
he did say some of that stuff.
That's practically what he's saying, bro.
Yeah.
Like, hitting the gym, dumbbells are everywhere.
Yeah.
He's still using the same leg extension Roy Keane was probably using to fix his cruciate.
That's what I'm saying.
The place is a joke thing.
Yeah.
He goes to the canteen, they're probably serving like alphabet spaghetti. Luke Shaw's munching alphabet spaghetti there with his bloody baguette.
Yeah.
Sancho's gaming in the corner.
Exactly.
Ronaldo's thinking, this place is a disgrace. Yeah. And any player that watched that, why would they pick us?
Exactly.
Why
you come to Arsenal, you got Win the Dog, you got Arteta getting you pickpocketed, good family feel at the club.
This was my next thing. This was my next thing. Why would you come to United based on all of that? On the other hand, you've got Arsenal, who are heading in the right direction, haven't won a single thing. You've got the manager pickpocketing his own players, right? So it's a choice between catching a Veruca or getting robbed, you know, between these two clubs at the moment. This is where we're at, right? At least at United, you're winning some silverware, even if it's Mickey Mouse Cups, FA Cups, Carabao Cups, Europa, Budget League, whatever you want to call it. Arsenal are slowly turning into...
Europe, so there's no chance.
No, of course not. I hear that, yeah? Arsenal are slowly turning into, and you said earlier, my own words, I'm going to bring your own words back. You don't want to turn into Tottenham.
Yeah, that is true.
And if you're a player, you could easily be looking at Arsenal and be like, is this turning into Tottenham? Where they can't get a trophy. They can't win the big one. You're not going to ever quite be Tottenham.
Yeah, but I think any top player, they have egos, these players. And they can think, you know what? I can be the one. I can be the signing. We sign, you know, like say we sign Rodrigo or a Sesko or whoever it might be. And they think, you know what? I can be the player to get Arsenal over the line.
Let me ask you
Declan Rice chose Arsenal, right?
Totally, yeah.
And let me just quickly land here, because I saw something with John Obi Mikel, right? I think his podcasts are really, really good.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
And he said when it was with United and Chelsea, remember, he had the top in the Man United shirt and everything.
Yeah.
He said, he thought to himself, do you know what? Man United have won everything. They've done it all. Chelsea are just starting. He goes, I want to be part of...
I get it, but every African player goes and plays for Chelsea.
Yeah, but he wanted to be part of
the
new team that was winning. Do you know what I mean? Because they hadn't won for so long. Whereas he goes to United, you lot were just winning leagues. It's just like, oh yeah, picking up another league
title. Go barbershop, African uncle walks in.
Yeah.
What you saying, Barth? Who do you support? They all say Chelsea.
Didier Drogba did that for them.
So I'm not sure I can trust John Obi Mikel saying he chose it for that reason. His dad probably said to him.
What I'm trying to say is that Declan Rice, right? He could have went to Arsenal or City. He goes to City, wins a league title. It's just like, okay, he wins a league title. Declan Rice wins a league title with Arsenal.
It's massive.
It's massive.
I get your
There's
point.
going to be 500,000 people.
Based on that thought process.
And we're going to be saying Declan Rice was one of the main reasons we won the Premier League.
I understand. So
he very nearly did it off signing him.
Yeah, based on that thought process, you got to be really honest with yourself based on that thought process. Yeah. If someone comes to United, a Gyokeres, that's who we're talking about, and becomes our new Eric Cantona, which is the man that won us the league, basically.
Yeah.
He was that next.
Well, I said already, old Tuna could be.
Yeah, but imagine...
Cunha could be your new Eric Cantona.
Imagine Gyokeres does that.
Yeah.
What's bigger for your stature as a folk hero in football? Getting United to win the Premier League again from where they are now, or winning a Premier League with Arsenal?
Yeah, but he's 27 years old.
But I'm asking you that question.
27.
I'm asking you that question. You said a whole bunch of people in Islington are going to be they're going to rate him as a god.
Yeah.
Whoever wins Man United the Premier League next.
Yeah, but you're so far away from that now. There's no player that can do that now.
You don't think so?
No, well, you're not going to
I don't think so either. But what I'm saying is...
maybe in the next, let's say, 7 or 8 years, it would take you at least.
Bro, all these people, these agents, these people, they're all salespeople.
Of course.
They're all saying to this player, Gyokeres, when he sits down, hey, mate, we've just signed old Tuna.
Yeah.
Right? We're getting Mbeumo in. We're getting you in. We're going to have a big push. I just read now on Sky Sports that Barada released that in 2028 we're winning the title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen that before.
We can all say that, right? But I'm going off of what these men are selling to these players.
Another thing with Gyokeres, obviously his age is 26 or 27, right? And obviously Sesko, I think, just turned 22. There'll be less pressure on Sesko as there would be for Gyokeres, especially because of his goal record. Everyone would be expecting goals. So with Sesko, he's only got 13 goals in the Bundesliga last season. There'll be that, okay, you're not a bagsman like that. But another thing on that is, everyone keeps saying, he only scored 13 goals in Bundesliga, right? Playing in a much poorer side. You put Saka whipping the balls into a 6'5" striker.
I get it. I get it. Yeah.
It's going to be different.
I haven't seen enough of him to pass a judgment.
If you see Isaac, right? Isaac for Newcastle, he got 4 goals for Real Sociedad.
It's crazy.
Now I remember thinking, oh mate, but you could see there was a player in him. So
I get it. I just think
the main thing is Arsenal. You need to get the business done because I know we're still only in June, but honestly,
what did they bid for it?
Yeah, 39 million.
I mean,
it feels like everyone is now doing business. Chelsea have signed Delap and a few other players they've signed. United have signed Cunha. right?
Yeah. It's slowed down for United.
Man
now.
City have signed 2 absolute
Oh my
ballers.
gosh, mate! Yeah,
That fella from AC Milan is
Yeah.
unbelievable. And
how'd you say his name? I can't get his name.
yeah, that's why I didn't say it. But
The one from Leon.
yeah, him.
Yeah.
Yorke, is it? He's
he slotted one against United.
Mate, he is unbelievable.
Yeah, he's a baller.
He was. What game was it in the Nations
Is
League?
it Turkish?
He was brilliant.
How'd you say his name? Shocking.
Yorke
anyway.
or something, I think.
Yeah,
But mate, he's,
I'm not
he's
going to rely.
unbelievable.
I'm not going to rely on you for
No,
names,
don't rely on
bruv.
me for names. Yeah.
But yeah, they've done their
yeah,
signings.
what a player he is. He looks like, honestly, he is that. Honestly, he gives you that the vibe of the touch he's got on him is just something else.
Yeah. He's a
In
little bit that
game,
Mahrez type player.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
That Mahrez type player.
Yeah.
I don't even want to look at City. I ain't
Yeah.
going to lie. I'm so done with City and I was so glad they had the year that they had.
City favourites to win the Premier League.
No, is that they are officially
Back to favourites to win the Premier League. Yeah.
I think he's lost it.
Mm.
I think we used to look at Jose Mourinho, how he's just lost it.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd see Pep Guardiola, what he did at Liverpool. You know, when he started, what did he do? He like put his hand up to show how many titles he's won.
Yeah. But
that's such a Jose thing to do. Like tell people to show.
But everyone's human. You know what I mean?
Totally.
He's graceful, but he is.
He showed.
Yeah, of course.
It showed a chink in the armor.
Listen, every top manager is a sore loser, and if you ain't, then you're in the wrong business.
For me, I'm just saying my perception.
I like that when I saw that. About
my
him.
perception.
Yeah.
Guardiola don't need to do that.
Yeah.
He is absolutely.
You know, but you do.
elite.
When you've got people goading you and goading you.
I get the reasoning.
Giving it to you.
I get the reasoning.
They've won one league title.
But that showed me the pressure's getting to him, innit?
Yeah.
A little bit.
I'm not going to lie. I'm scared. I'm scared of City now. I am. I wasn't. Now the signings they're making, I'm starting to get scared.
Well, I mean, you got more than City to worry about. Liverpool have confirmed Wirtz.
Wow. I mean, what a signing for them.
Oh, Trent's gone to like Madrid.
Yeah.
Did you see his thing?
Yeah, it's flowing in full Spanish, isn't it?
He's been planning that
of course
for
he has.
ages. Yeah. You know, that's his boyhood club, and he's gone there if he can speak in fluent Spanish. Man's been having lessons ready for that, bruv. But
again, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think he's won everything at his boyhood club. He's given everything to them. What more do you want to do? He's won every single trophy. He's bowing out on winning the Premier League.
Shout out my brother-in-law who's a Liverpool fan. So hopefully one day we'll have him on here.
Hopefully.
He hates Trent now for this.
Yeah.
And he
I'm just trying to think. I mean, if Saka won everything with Arsenal, I could not hate that guy.
As a United fan,
I couldn't.
We're used to this a little bit. I understand Trent's born and bred there,
yeah.
But obviously my brother-in-law's a little bit younger, so he's just like.
No, but let's say Rashford had won everything with you lot, and he went into the superstar like we thought he was going to be, and then he wanted to go to a Barca or Real Madrid. I don't think he'd be hated.
No, we don't need to even use.
Was David Beckham hated?
Well, this is what I'm going to go through the list now. It happened with David Beckham, right? Happened with Ruud van Nistelrooy, right?
Ronaldo.
Cristiano Ronaldo. The list goes on.
Happened to us with Thierry Henry.
Yeah, the list goes on, and you know what? You just accept it.
Yeah.
Fair play to him. Ronaldo, when he left, I was brokenhearted.
Of course.
But the geezer deserves it. Guy was an absolute legend for us. You know what I mean? Beckham, obviously, he fell out with Fergie, got a boot kicked into his head, and he smashed it over.
Times.
Yeah, he smashed it over there as well.
He's just been knighted as well.
Van Nistelrooy, I was gutted as well that he had left. But listen, he was smashing it too.
Yeah.
We lost another big player to them, didn't we? I don't know why. I feel like there's another one, but never mind. It will come to me. But he couldn't understand why Trent would pick Madrid. But of course, man. Mate.
Yeah, you're going to live in Spain, man. You're going to live a whole new life. Like, it's life experience. You see on the overlap on that, Roy Keane says he always wishes he would have went. A lot of the United
did say that, didn't he? Yeah,
he wished they would have went
or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it. Like, especially if you've won everything, what more is there for you to do? You've completed it. You've clocked the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think Roy Keane is saying that more because of the way his career finished there.
Yeah, of course.
But they didn't value him and basically got rid of him, innit? Like,
yeah, well, United, they're not very good with treating how they treat.
Doesn't seem to be, do they? Right? And he highlights that. Look what happened with De Gea.
Yeah.
It's not nice, is it?
Yeah,
really?
well, De Gea was on 325 grand a week though. So
is that what he was on?
Yeah. Why do you think he didn't have a club for so long? Because he was getting paid that by you guys. He'd have to rip up his contract.
I didn't even know that. Yeah. So he was just waiting.
That is crazy money for De Gea to be on. I know he was a top goalkeeper.
But he was the last person to win the Premier League that was in that team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, listen, I don't care.
He won one title, was it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. The last one with Fergie. Yeah. The 2013 one. So, listen, fair play to him. But to finish this little bit off, Gyokeres, I think the only reason, if I'm to be 100% honest, although, listen, there is something glamorous when your career's all said and done to say you played for Man United.
Yeah.
I think there is.
Like,
yeah.
what's his name? The Nigerian striker.
Who?
Who is it you got on loan?
Who?
Used to play for Watford.
Oh, no, you're
Igalo,
talking
is it?
about Igalo. Yeah, Igalo.
Yeah,
What a
just
G,
like
bruv.
him.
What a G.
Yeah.
That's another.
Lived out his dream.
Remember, I was using those examples.
Yeah.
Right, about like grabbing
Yeah.
little strikers mid-season. Just
Yeah.
to, I mean, that was a poor version of it.
Yeah.
Who did that? Ollie. Was that Ollie?
I think so, yeah.
I think it was Ollie. So
Yeah.
that's Ollie following that trend.
Of course, yeah.
Grabbing an Igalo
Yeah.
mid-season.
Ferguson probably rang him up. Said, go get that Igalo out of the Chinese league.
I don't mean to touch base on this again, but it's something Arsenal need to just do.
Yeah.
Like, grab someone like that mid-season.
Go and get Jamie Vardy.
Yeah.
Mikel, pick up the phone.
As a backup plan.
Yeah.
You need a main striker.
All day long.
We touched base on this last time. But yeah, go just bell him.
Yeah.
I said, you know what?
Phone him up.
Just
You
come and
fancy it.
train with us. I might not even play you.
Yeah.
But I want the rest of the man see you slotting it in the back of the net. in
Jamie
training.
Vardy, a Sesko or a Gyokeres.
Yeah, we
That's
said
it,
that.
you're
We said that. And
sorted.
a lot of people agreed with that statement.
But I mean, someone actually commented and was like, "Oh, that you said that you described Gabriel Jesus, but Gabriel Jesus is never fit, and he's not going to be back until January, and then his knee will break again. So forget Gabriel Jesus.
I
you
mugged
got
off Luke
Havertz.
Shaw last time, right?
You know what I mean?
He's a great player,
yeah,
Luke Shaw, but he's never fit.
he was so good when
So,
he was at Southampton.
Sorry,
wasn't he?
part of being a
Yeah,
good player,
of course.
we said this. You got to be fit.
Some of
It's
these players,
unfortunate
they're
when your
lucky
body
they
gives
still
up.
get
It's
these
gutting.
big contracts, and sometimes there's sentiments in it.
Yeah.
Because you know Arteta with Jesus. Arteta, he is, everyone knows I love Arteta, but he is giving me Wenger vibes where he holds on to these players for too long. And, you know, even as fans, we do it sometimes. Theo Walcott.
I think you have to be
Theo
ruthless.
Walcott,
in
how
this, innit?
long? He was at Arsenal for way too many years. And then he would get 10 goals and he'd score in a game and you'd think, you know what, actually Theo's all right. He'd score in the North London derby. Should have went ages ago.
I think you
know
have
what
to
I
be
mean?
ruthless. You were just saying that Man United don't treat
Yeah.
their players right.
You do have to be ruthless.
think
Football's a business as well
It
at the
is.
end of the day.
You have to
so,
be ruthless. And the
yeah.
way everyone, listen, back in the day, it was Arsenal, Man United.
Yeah. Let's
Now-
get into that. Arsenal, Man United, because we said we were going to do this.
Oh, yeah. Hold on.
So let's do it.
I've got a few questions here. No, but before we go on that, we had another
Go on.
one we need to touch base on that someone asked, yeah? Jack Grealish.
Okay, yeah, Jack Grealish.
Would you take him at Arsenal?
No, I would not take him out.
You would not?
No chance.
Not ahead of Martinelli.
No, reason being.
The Grealish that was at Aston Villa.
Yeah, but he's not going to be that. He's not going to be that.
You think that's gone?
I think that's gone. And I think if he goes to an Aston Villa or a team where he's going to be allowed to express himself, where he's going to be the main man and the best player, we've got Saka's our guy. Do you know what I mean? And I think Arteta, the system Arteta plays, he's not just going to let him free roam. No chance. No way in hell. Arteta's on that touchline.
It would just be Grealish at Man City at Arsenal.
Exactly. That's what I feel like. Yeah. So no.
You don't think Arteta would let him?
No.
What does Martinelli do over there?
See,
I see him running.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's all I see him doing.
For me, this is a make or break season for Martinelli. Because right now, I would replace him
With Rodrigo.
I
You
would
said
get
that,
someone
yeah.
like elite, and I feel like Martinelli, he's got such a good attitude. He'll always give 100% for that shirt, and he wouldn't moan. He'd keep his head down, and when he's called upon, he would play and he would give his best. Now it depends. Are we going to buy a left winger or not?
You don't think Grealish, overall, what he's shown in his football career,
I think he's done, man.
hold on,
Level.
has shown more? You don't think Grealish, this is the...
Yeah, but Grealish is 29. Martinelli's 22,
no one's
23.
saying to get rid of Martinelli.
Yeah.
Mate, why have City dominated football? Their depth in squad.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so no one's saying to get rid of Martinelli.
I
And
know,
players
it's-
need to understand that, yes, you may have started and you may have been the main man on the left wing,
Mm.
but the way you win Premier Leagues and you're going to get that Premier League title
Yeah, but you know
around
what?
your...
I have to look. I know where you're going with it, but these ex-City players and ex-Chelsea players.
I know,
and
you've
this
done it a few times,
I just,
innit? You've
Nah,
done it a few
man. I want
times.
fresh blood, man. I want good. Yeah, I want a superstar, someone like a Rodrigo.
He wears his socks down low as well, Grealish. I don't
Look,
feel
he's
it,
a great player.
Roy
I think
Costa.
the move for Jack Grealish now is, mate, listen, Jack, get yourself back down to Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Right? It's perfect for
I
him.
ain't gonna lie. If you asked me the same question, I wouldn't take him either. I see him with his socks down low. Roy Costa's a legend. Used to do
Yeah, but
that.
for you
Grealish
to
is not
say
in
that,
that
that's
league.
crazy. Because
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Man United, he'd be your best player.
Yeah.
Apart from Bruno.
Oh, come on, man.
Apart from Bruno, he would not be your best player.
No,
He would.
I just.
Jack Grealish would be United's best player.
You think so?
Yeah. Who
He's
else?
hardly played any football, mate.
Yeah, but who else is big?
He's
You're
hardly
saying
played-
Arsenal should sign him. We're going for league titles.
I hear you, but I'm
All right.
talking about your structures are a big deal, bro. Structures are a big
Who do
deal.
you want to
yeah?
sign to make sure you don't go down?
Man's hit me.
Go
See
on.
this? I'm not coming back to the show. It's done. Man's trying to violate. He's trying to take this personal.
It's Goon is therapy, but look, United, I've run some therapy for you lot. Because after finishing 15th, I think you're going to need it.
Yeah, exactly. What I'm saying is, he would fit into your system. You know how you basically circle the ball around the box.
Yeah.
Back and you said it yourself.
Yeah.
You keep circling, get it to Odegaard, get it to Saka.
Yeah.
I think Grealish fits into that.
But
I think Grealish has shown more in his career than Martinelli, and I think having both would be great for you.
Yeah, but he's not the one we want. We need someone else.
Agreed.
Coming on to that, though, I do have a strong feeling, because we're going to be going in with a fully fit squad.
Yeah.
And I'm praying we're going to have some additions, which we are. Let's face it, we're going to get some players in. I've got a strong feeling that we're gonna go back. He's going to let the foot off the gas a little bit, and we're going to go back to a bit more of a free-flowing football.
You wish, mate.
No, honestly, because not last season, the season before, it was 5-6-0, and there was glimpses of it last year when we had a full team, beating City 5-1, beating Sporting 5-1.
Having a full team is never guaranteed.
I know, but I'm saying if you can keep the majority of that team fit, I think Arsenal next season will be slapping teams left, right, and centre. But we need the signings to give us that boost. Last year, just when we needed a striker, we didn't. We went and got Calafiori, Mikel Merino, and Sterling on loan. No one gets a lift. We were at 2 points, we missed out on the title. The season before, we finished on 84 points, right? And then we signed Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, Timber, right?
Timber's been a good signing.
Timber's been fantastic.
Declan Rice has been a fantastic signing. Kai Havertz.
He's been okay, but I'm saying he was a 65 million
people were
signing.
expecting as in, you needed a striker, and they bought him.
We spent big. Obviously, Declan Rice was the big one. It galvanised the whole club, and we went to another level, right?
Yeah, I agree.
We went to another level.
I agree.
Then the following season, we didn't do it. Arsenal seem to do this. They'll have a big summer, then they'll go close, and then they don't have a big summer in spending-wise. So it's like they go big spending once every 2 years.
They're trying to buy Nando's with kicking in chip money.
Yeah. And everyone says, oh,
PFC money.
But everyone says Arteta, they hit him with that. He spent 700 million in 6 years. That's like 100 mil a year. Yeah. Southampton spent 140 million last season.
They don't strike when they need
exactly.
to.
The Kroenke doesn't. The Kroenkes don't. They need to go and spend the money. Josh Kroenke telling us to fucking be excited. Mate, spend the money. We're that close. We were that close in that January and we went and got Trossard.
Cheapskates.
Do you know what I mean? So we're that close to winning the league, and everyone's going to be happy and on side, and we're going to be buying all your merchandise and all your third kits. And
you guys are still the most expensive season ticket, right?
Well, that's
is that
what
in
I'm
the
saying.
world? Yeah,
I'm not sure, but my new one I've just renewed, and it's about 1,200 quid.
1,200.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, it goes towards Gyokeres. But yeah,
I hope so. Just to someone anyway.
Right, let's go to another question that we got. Right, yes, this was the one. Which current Arsenal player fits into the Invincible team? It's tough.
It's for me, it has to be out of 3 players.
3 players?
Yeah.
I think you'd struggle to find one that fits into your Invincible team, mate.
No, because I mean, there's Declan Rice.
All right, I'll let you. Replaces who?
Gilberto, possibly. I think that's close. Right?
Okay, right.
Then obviously I would take Saka over.
So hold on, before we move on, because obviously you all know how this is. I'm going to clip this up, have a poll. Declan Rice or Gilberto Silva?
It's a tough one. I think I'm going Declan Rice.
You're going Declan Rice.
I am.
Gilberto Silva was a G.
He was. World Cup winner, played every minute of that World Cup. Was excellent for us.
And some of these players that do their job.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say? When they do their job properly, they ain't trying to run up and down and be box to box. I mean, Declan Rice is fantastic.
I would take Declan Rice, though.
You're picking Declan Rice over Gilberto Silva.
I would. And then I would also take Saka over Ljungberg, for sure.
Okay, hold on. We start again. Here's the next one. Saka or Freddie Ljungberg. Who'd you pick?
Bukayo Saka every day of the week. Yep. Ljungberg's a legend, but Saka.
So Rice replaces Gilberto Silva. Yeah. Saka replaces Ljungberg.
And Saliba replaces Kolo Touré.
Saliba, not Gabriel.
No, because Gabriel would be Campbell, innit? And I'm picking Campbell. As Gabriel's my favourite Arsenal player, by the way. But Saliba over Kolo Touré. Yeah.
Those are the 3.
Yeah, they're the only 3.
You'd put into the Invincible team.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. That's a good answer, man. That's amazing. Yeah. And that's hopefully going to get some good reaction. I'm a bit shocked on the Gilberto Silva one. I understand You always go with current times and how you feel now.
No.
I think Gilberto Silva was a massive player for you.
He was a massive player. Do not get me wrong, but who do I think's an overall better footballer? I mean, Declan Rice and Patrick Vieira together. Oh my God.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I just think it's hard to put players that have not won the Premier League into a team that went unbeaten.
Yeah, but then you just
won your gold spray painted cup that you guys called gold plated. That's all they talk about.
Oh, you mean what Ferguson said?
Yeah.
Ferguson called the greatest achievement ever.
Is that what he said? Yeah, he's lost it though.
Yeah, well,
you know.
Go and see.
I was going to say something. I was going to say something a bit mad there, but let's leave it. But yeah,
don't get us cancelled.
Exactly. I was going to say something a bit mad there. Right. The next question off that: which player would you take out of the Invincible team? I think this one's easy. Let me start again. Which player would you take out of the Invincible team and put into this one to win the league?
I think, like you said, it's an easy answer.
Yeah.
We need goals.
Does he do it?
We need the king.
Does he? Does he?
Of course he does.
Yeah.
Put Thierry Henry in this team. Oh my God, that's giving me.
Do you think so?
It's making me get excited.
He fits in that style. He fits in.
Yeah, everything, man. He could just do it all. He's
the
greatest player in the Premier League history. He does it.
I'd argue that. We all saw the Sky Sports thing. Ronaldo beat him, and then they mustered up some new point system to get him top because he was on the show.
What? No, I saw.
Did you not watch that?
No, I saw they had Ronaldo.
Yeah, Ronaldo was top.
What? And then they do another one.
And then they did some next thing to muster it up, so Henry won it.
Yeah, but Henry.
And it was just look, mate, do us
Ronaldo,
all a
had
favour.
Ronaldo stayed, probably would have been him. But for longevity,
Fair play.
it was Henry.
For me,
yeah. Henry got 4 golden boots.
We're drifting now. We can stick on this, right? But for me,
but let's right. Thierry Henry or Cristiano
Ronaldo's in another hemisphere to Henry.
Not in the Premier League, he wasn't.
I'd say he was.
No way.
No
way in hell. Thierry Henry is the greatest.
And
it's widely known he's the greatest.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen. Let's move on to this question because it goes off what we just said. What's more impressive, winning the treble or going invincible?
Winning the treble is more impressive.
Fair play to you.
That's it. Winning the treble is more impressive. But don't get me wrong.
I'm surprised, because in the group chat, these lot were talking about their gold-plated thing and how they went, unbeaten. It is impressive. But, mate, winning a treble, there's no comparison.
Winning the Champions League as well. I would go as far as to say even winning the Champions League and Premier League double is even better, to be fair.
Okay, winning the double.
Yeah.
Oh, winning a Champions League and a Premier League.
If you told me next season.
Not the old school double.
If you said next season, do you want Arsenal to win the league and go invincible again, as appetizing as that sounds, or do you want us to win the Champions League and the Premier League? Come on, I'm saying Premier League and Champions League.
Play.
But, however, a lot of teams do win the treble, right? Not loads, but City have done it now. You have done it. Barcelona have done it.
I get it. It's
PSG
something that you feel like no one's done. Yeah.
As far as I know, only Arsenal have done it in England. I know Juventus done it in Serie A, and now obviously Leverkusen have done it.
So you feel like that's yours. You feel like
it's
that's
our
yours.
thing. Yeah, it's our thing, and we love it. But
do you think anyone?
Do
you think anyone will do it and beat the run? Ever?
Do you know what?
You think if City haven't done it,
I thought City were going to be the team to do it. I thought, you know what, City will end up doing it, but I can't see anyone doing it now.
No.
All the lower teams have got better. We got some luck in that as well. Do you know what I mean? You'd need so much luck.
You're being very honest, boy.
Yeah, we did get you. Listen, you need luck to win a league title, let alone
there was a lot of draws in that. There was a lot of draws.
Well, there was only actually eight draws, and then towards the end, we had won the league, so it was just don't lose, which is it's normal. We've got 90 points. So still very, very high tally. 12 draws, 26 wins. Obviously. Van Nistelrooy missing the penalty. That was 10 games in. If he scores that, there's no. You know what I mean? There was a game.
Is that one? Yeah, where he hits the crossbar and Keown goes nuts on him.
There was a game when we played Portsmouth. They missed a load of chances. There was loads of games. There's always going to be games where.
But you're lucky. So fair play. You've said the treble's a bigger achievement. Yeah. This one's for me. Which player would you take out of United's treble team to change United's fortune?
Or to guarantee United stay up. Yeah.
As he says again. The team's so bad, isn't it? That
I think there's only one answer.
You think there's only one answer?
Yeah. Let's see if you're thinking the right person.
I think you want to say Roy Keane.
Yeah, of course.
I think you want to say Roy Keane.
That's the man you need in that team now. He would ruffle some feathers and get people playing properly.
I'll be honest.
Look at Gary Neville. When you see when they speak to him, all of them, even Beckham's mum and dad come on and they just love Roy Keane. He had them boys whipped into shape. They knew.
Yeah.
They knew they had to perform.
You can see the vibe he
you can
creates.
See it.
In it.
You
Yeah,
can see it. And you can see it when Arsenal, when I think Wrighty and Henry, when they talk about Tony Adams, he's really interested. And he's like, I love to hear about all this. No, he says, I love to see these players, to hear these stories that you're winners.
What I will say though, mate, is unfortunately in the world we live in now, that style, that you can't get a funny.
Yeah, but let's not get it twisted though. Roy Keane was a very good footballer as well.
Yeah, no one's saying that. Yeah. No, he was a baller.
Anyone who thinks he was just tackles and red cards does not watch football.
Right, listen.
Right?
He was box to box. He scored
fantastic.
Goals. So here's another one before we continue this. Roy Keane or Declan Rice, yeah?
Roy Keane all day long.
It's Roy Keane all day long.
Listen, better question for everyone. Roy Keane or Patrick Vieira?
No, it's Roy Keane.
Well, for me, it's Patrick Vieira was just that little bit more graceful. So I'd give
it's Roy Keane because of what he's won. I mean,
well,
what he did alone.
Vieira's won a World Cup.
Yeah. So's Paul Pogba. Yeah. So's Paul Pogba.
Yeah, but
win a World Cup in a team that's
point,
full of sausages. Yeah. Fair play. Yeah. Paul Pogba's won a World Cup and he was known as the talisman that won it for them. Remember there was clips of him like speaking to, and look where Paul Pogba is now. You know what I'm trying to say? Vieira was fantastic, but all I've got to highlight is Roy Keane against Juventus in that treble season.
Yeah, I'm phenomenal. And he plays that down as well, but it was a phenomenal. But Vieira's
unbelievable. But back to what we were saying, you're saying the only answer is Roy Keane to go into that Man United
all right, but
team.
you're saying Roy Keane, I'm saying Vieira. We should have a poll on that though.
Yeah. Before we move on, Roy Keane or Patrick Vieira, I'm sure loads of people have seen this. For me, it's Roy Keane all day long, simply based on you've said Vieira's won the World Cup.
For me, it's not
that's my answer.
I feel like they are very similar players, but Vieira had that little bit more grace about him on the ball, that little bit more elegance, and I think he just edges it over.
Totally, I like players though that have that grunt work. That are not stylish.
Vieira had both.
He did. He was fantastic. But Roy Keane was something else, mate.
Anyway, there's fine margins.
But you say
every Arsenal fan will say Vieira,
of course,
and most United fans will say.
But you say Roy Keane in this current Man United team.
Yeah, I mean, who else? Who would you take?
But before we move on to that, I was saying that in this current time, look at the players we've had recently. Players like Sancho, who are apparently late to training, gaming all night. Yeah. This is not me. This is that what they're saying? Yeah.
No, I'm only joking.
Blimey.
But there's little clips in
it. There's little clips. Funny, most of it's probably memes and banter, but that is, he's late all the time. He had to go off to some camp for his mental health. Remember
Yeah.
So imagine Roy Keane coming in there and just telling him, "Oi, you're shit.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Your attitude stinks." Like throwing boots at his head. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
Players like Rashford can't handle that. Like, when players like Rashford and Casemiro went to we had just lost the game.
Yeah.
And they went to New York to watch a basketball match. Roy Keane's not going to have any of that.
Yeah.
But it's just not going to work in this day and age.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's a tough one because this team's an absolute disaster. But if I had to pick one from that treble winning team, I think it would have to be Paul Scholes. And the only reason is...
dictate the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a player.
And to answer your question, that would stop us from being relegated at least.
Yeah.
Paul Scholes guarantees that.
Yeah, he does, definitely.
Yeah. But there's not one player that guarantees us back to winning the league from the treble winning team.
I was just thinking, because obviously...
if you could take Dwight, Yorke and Cole as a partnership as one player, that would be my answer.
Yeah.
Bro, I've never seen anyone else at the new camp do what they've done.
I would say they're so underrated, both of them.
Mate.
They're so underrated, it's unbelievable. Especially Andy Cole.
Goodness.
The goals that guy scored, he's up there. He's like the third.
Did you see them at the new camp that year?
Andy Cole is perhaps the most underrated footballer of all time.
Yeah.
Honestly, I swear, it really.
And when Dwight Yorke played with him,
Yorke as well was unbelievable.
That part, I'm saying it now. There's no better than a partnership in football, in my opinion.
Apart from Henry and Bergkamp.
Here he comes. I knew he was coming. We've got a lot of polls on this one.
Yeah.
Henry and Bergkamp versus Cole and Yorke. Again, what did Cole and Yorke win together? Cole and Yorke. Go watch this clip. If you've not watched this clip, because we got a lot of young people in football now. That, I'm shouting at my brother-in-law again. He watches this and he reps it, yeah. But he wouldn't have watched Dwight Yorke and Andy Cole at the new camp doing 1-2s with not like, like letting it through their legs, back,
Do
goal.
you know what,
Watch
though,
it.
right? Everyone and their dog knows Thierry Henry and Dennis Bergkamp. Some people would not even know too much about Yorke and Cole.
Which is...
Yeah? That is... I know, it is crazy, but I'm saying...
It's
like,
because one's French and one's Dutch, innit?
You're talking about as a partnership, but you look...
Henry had the va-va-voom, the whole vibe to him. That's why, bro. It's a big deal. We spoke about Salah.
Bergkamp is known internationally. Like, if people are talking about their greatest players ever, they're going to stick Dennis Bergkamp in there and Thierry Henry.
He couldn't catch a plane, the poor geezer. So you can't stick him in the greatest player ever. If you can't catch a flight, being injured, sorry, you're not there.
Dennis Bergkamp and Thierry Henry are known as two of the greatest footballers of all time. Cole and Yorke are not. As a partnership, they were fantastic.
If Arsenal
they don't get the flowers.
If Arsenal were in the final against Bayern Munich that year in 1999, Bergkamp doesn't play because he doesn't catch the flight. What does he do? Run there?
No.
What does he catch the train? Where was the final?
He gets on the boat
in Nou Camp. He gets on the boat.
Your final was in Nou Camp. Yeah, he used to get on the boat for 3 days. He used to do it sometimes.
He used to do that.
Yeah, he had to.
For me, you've got to go what you've done in club football and Dwight Yorke and Andy Cole. Like I said, you get a lot of young viewers, yeah? Watch what they did at the Nou Camp the year we won it in 1999 in the group stages. Unbelievable. Even the last goal against Juventus that year, yeah, I think it's Andy Cole goes round the keeper. Yeah. Keeper brings him down for a penalty. Who's there?
You did that without Scholes and Keane, didn't you, as well?
No, Keane was in...
Keane was playing that game.
But they both missed the final.
Missed the final, yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah. But yeah, Dwight Yorke and Andy Cole, if I could have them as one to answer
Andy Cole, I mean, like 185 goals, no penalties.
Yeah,
no penalties.
It's unbelievable.
But he's never
a humble guy as well. But you can see when he has his interviews now.
Yeah, but he's pissed off.
He's pissed off. He don't get mentioned at all, bro. Some of the guys'
maybe
goals.
Maybe it's because they're not in the media as much. Obviously,
this is what I'm saying to you. You've got to have that va-va-voom.
Yeah.
That Henry had. He was a fantastic player, but he had the...
Of course he did, exactly. No, but obviously Henry and Bergkamp, they were better players than them. They were strikers. They were Ian Wright. Do you know what I mean? The argument you'd have would be like Ian Wright, Dennis Bergkamp in the 90s. Yorke and Cole would be more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But obviously Bergkamp had the elegance, and then Wright was more like a Yorkie. You know what I mean? Sort of player, right?
Yorke was basically a number 10, mate.
Yeah.
You know, you used to have 9 and a 9.5. That's what they call it now, basically. But a 9 and a
good goals,
a 9 and a 10 used to just be a partnership.
Yeah, exactly.
Now a number 10's like a Juan Mata.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't even say Bruno Fernandes is a number 10. Juan Mata's a perfect example of a number 10, innit? The way he used to play, spread it across, put people through. But back then, it was like 9 Andy Cole, 10 Dwight Yorke.
Yeah.
That number 10 used to score goals, man. Yeah. Bergkamp did. Number 10s don't score goals like that anymore.
No, they don't.
I don't feel like. I feel like their job's gotten less.
Cunha's going to be... Is Bruno number 10 at United?
Bruno's
he wears the number 10.
Bruno wears 18?
Yeah, I was thinking.
No, Casemiro
wears 10?
Casemiro wears 18 now.
Who wears 10 at United?
Oh my God, mate. I've gone blank.
They didn't give it to Mason Mount, did they?
No, he got 7.
Surely not.
He got 7.
Did he get number 7?
He got 7.
Bruno
wears number 8.
Ronaldo's number.
Bruno wears number 8.
He's at 8.
I went blank. Yeah,
he's at 8.
Number 10.
Who's your 10? So Cunha's surely going to get number 10.
It's got to be, yeah.
Was Cantona 10? He was, wasn't he?
I think Cantona was 10. No, Cantona was a 7, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, he was 7, yeah, because it went to Bex after him.
I'm sure he was a 7. I can't believe Mason Mount got a 7.
All the legends have been 7. George Best was 7 as well, weren't he? Yeah.
Ronaldo 7. I can't believe Mason Mount got the 7.
You'll just check Manchester United number 10. Do you not have one at the moment?
I should know that. I know. Who is United's?
I remember when Arsenal gave it to Gallas. That was a joke.
I don't know who it is, mate. Who is Man United number 10?
Rashford.
Oh, hold on. Mate, I've just searched that. Shirt is likely to be worn by Matheus Cunha, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course it's Rashford. That's why I've gone blank. I've deleted him from my brain, mate. He's back at United though, isn't it? Like, technically, his loan's finished. He's back.
Do you know what? Just thinking, I think Arsenal's number 10 is actually up for grabs now as well.
Who was your number 10?
Smith Rowe. We gave it to Smith Rowe.
So you don't have a number 10 now?
I don't think we do. I don't think anyone got it last year.
Who's your number 9?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, back in the day, that 9 and 10 were two strikers, not anymore. That's gone now.
Mate, that's what you know what I'd love to say when you keep saying who would we want, Sesko or Gyokeres?
Yeah.
I'd love to get both of them. That would be the dream.
You're bidding £3
I know,
for
it's
Gyokeres,
ridiculous.
mate. Yeah, I mean, you're bidding £3.90 for
and
Gyokeres.
it must piss off the player as well.
You lot are trying to meal deal Gyokeres.
I know.
You lot are disgraced.
Sesko meal deal for Gyokeres.
You man are shocking like that, man. You won't get him like that.
It's really disheartening.
I was shocked you did it for Rice.
It's really disheartening as a fan as well when you see that, because you just know, like, come on.
Not just that. Imagine the player. So he's,
I know.
Imagine you're the player. You're thinking, right?
How much do you want me?
We've touched base on it in this chat, right? You've got to pick Arsenal over United right now. Imagine he was feeling that way.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
And then he sees that.
And then he sees that and he thinks, actually, I'm going to go play for my old manager.
Yeah.
Even if he is having a shit time over there. Even if the swimming pool's got cut tiles and I'm going to cut my foot, right, and catch a Veruca, I'm going to go play there. You know, because you, man, are bidding like meal deal £3.90 for my man. It's mental, bruv. Let's go questions. We've got a few more. What player in the current Man United team goes into the treble team? I'll ask you that first.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
What is it? Silence.
You don't think none?
None. Nah. None of them get into it.
None.
Possible. Do not say Bruno gets into that team. Do not. Don't dare. Because he doesn't take Keane's place and he doesn't take Scholes' place.
No, he doesn't. No.
Exactly.
It's very different.
Does he even take Nicky Butt's place?
Of course he does. Of course. Nicky Butt was decent, to be fair. Like, you know.
Was.
I think the only player you can stretch and say, and I think he could. I think he could. I don't know if he starts, but I think Bruno could go in that team. I think they asked Keane this.
What if you went three in the middle?
You'd have to change some things, or like.
Just who are you taking out?
What you could.
You ain't taking out Giggs. You ain't taking out Beckham. You ain't taking out Yorke and Cole.
No, you're not. No, and
where does he get into
it? Our second strikers after that were Sheringham and Solskjaer. I would argue
Bruno don't get in over them.
I would argue Bruno gets in over Sheringham.
No way.
Yeah.
How intelligent Sheringham was
he
as
was
a footballer.
A baller, wasn't he?
No way.
He's a baller, wasn't he?
He's a funny one as well, man. He's funny.
He was a funny one, but that's where I'd argue. But that's not even starting.
Nah. Just face it, man.
So Bruno's the only one.
That might be on the bench.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's mental.
Yeah, it is.
It's mental. Do you know what's crazy? That you can fit 3 into yours. I know you haven't won the treble, but into your Invincible team.
You know, that team, like you said, got 90 points. And when I'm unbeaten, Arsenal just got 89 points. The only reason why we didn't win the league is because we were up against this Man City. Do you know the points total what used to be? You lot won the league, I think in 99 when you were the treble winners, on 79 points. And you beat us we had 78 and you had 79.
The numbers have gone crazy.
Imagine that.
Now, innit?
Yeah. It's so hard to win the league.
It is.
It really is so hard to win the league.
Every team's sick, mate.
This is what I'm saying.
Every team is sick.
So hard to win the league.
But it's cool, though,
And this is why I say to everyone, I say only one team can win the Premier League and one can win the Champions League. And you've got these Arsenal fans tearing their hair out and cussing Arteta to death. It's like, bro, like we're back competing. You know, I want to go and watch a team that's going to compete. And that's where we are now. Now we do need the trophy now. Do not get me wrong.
You do have a little bit of sentimental value towards Arteta, though.
Of course I do.
You do. And I do think that clouds you a little bit.
Yeah.
Because last time when I said Enrique, you were like, if you asked me, then you put me on the spot, I'm not sure. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Right? Which shows you've got sentimental value. Yeah. I get it. But you do eventually have to wake up. Well, this is the year. You got to wake up and smell the coffee and realise that
this is the year. But you don't think he can get Arsenal over the line?
I said this last time. I've told you what he needs to do, but now I've seen.
But if he does that, if we get some good signings, whether we get signings or not, do you think
deep down
he can get Arsenal over the line? He can win a Premier League. Will he go on to be an elite manager?
Deep down,
because I see him winning the Premier League with Arsenal, and probably a handful of more trophies, and going on to probably a Barcelona where he's from, which would be the natural.
Yeah, deep down. I don't think he can. No. I don't think he's got it in him.
Yeah.
I think he's a coach.
Yeah.
Which he's shown. He's improved Arsenal players, every single one of them.
Yeah.
He's improved. He's a fantastic coach. But, in my opinion, the guys are basically a side chick. No one's going to marry him, He's
I think the Liverpool fans did. Oh, mate.
for me,
seeing that.
For me, he's a great coach, but he ain't the boss. He ain't
Mm.
going to get you over that line like a Guardiola, like a Fergie, like a Mourinho. I don't hope he proves me wrong.
Yeah.
But for your sake,
Yeah.
as a mate doing this, I hope he proves me wrong, right? And it'd be I don't want. There's one team I hate watching football.
Yeah.
It's Arsenal.
Of course.
I hate Arsenal. And that's because of the era I've grown up in.
Exactly.
I'll be honest. I hate watch Arsenal all the time. I don't want to see Arsenal.
I used to hate
anything.
United more than Spurs back in the school days because Spurs were just so irrelevant,
course,
and I had all my mates were United.
I think Arteta's a fantastic coach, and I said this analogy the other day, didn't I? A lot of people have dug into me because I said Southgate would have been a better appointment than Amorim. And the reasoning behind this is this. Southgate would have got us, I think, to the place Arteta has more or less got Arsenal, which then puts you in a place where if you get an Enrique, you shut it down. And I think that's where you're at. I don't think Arteta does it, mate. And I think even if he got what I suggested, a Sesko and a Vardy, even if he got Sesko and Gyokeres, I just don't think it's written for him to win it with Arsenal. I know that hurts you, but I'm not no oracle, mate. I don't know that for a fact. That's just my opinion.
It's quite possible, it's quite possible, but I think this is his year. This is the year that he does it. This is the year that Arsenal, after 22 years, after coming close twice and then, being relatively close this time, I think this is
I think he'll be done at the end of this year and it's time for Arsenal to move on.
I could see him personally, if we didn't win anything, I could see him actually resigning himself if he didn't win anything. Do you know what I mean?
You think he'd resign?
Possibly.
No way, mate.
Possibly, yeah. I think possibly. It depends how the season would go.
What do you think of his post-match interviews and stuff? He makes a lot of excuse. Look, listen. I rate anyone protecting their club and their players.
It's got worse. I used to really like it.
The guy's waffling a bit.
I used to really like it, but this year he's done some things where I've been like, mate, did you have to do that? You've made us look. You're making me feel uncomfortable. I'm your biggest fan. How do I defend that?
What do you gauge on that? What do you gauge of that?
You know what I mean? But Wenger used to do these things as well. It's just.
And where did that head him?
Yeah, exactly. This is the thing.
You were one of the only people on Arsenal Fan TV back then that went on and was respect Wenger.
Yeah, of course.
We shouldn't do this. We shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
So that makes sense now that you are Arteta all the way. You're never going to turn your back on him. But let's be honest. I think he's heading the same way.
No, but you see, the difference is, right, Arsene Wenger had done so much stuff for us, right?
Yeah.
And even in the end, I did say, I was like, look.
It's time to move on.
I think he should have left when he won the FA Cup 2000. And I think it was, the last one was 2017. I was there at the final. We beat Chelsea. It was a brilliant day. He stayed another year.
Right, here's another headline then. Here's another headline before we move on to something else. Arsene Wenger with this team. Right? Check it now. Arsene Wenger, right? Arsenal fans.
They're getting me excited
this
today.
United fan, he's here for you.
Yeah.
Arsene Wenger with this current team, does he win the Premier League?
Yes, I think he does. And I think we play amazing football while doing it as well.
Doesn't that answer your question on Arteta? Deep down. It does, innit?
I don't know. We'll have to see.
He's heartbroken, lads. Look. He's heartbroken.
We'll have to see. Like I said, I think if we get the right signings, I think we'll have just as much a chance as Liverpool and City. And I think it'll be the three of them going for the title again. And we just have to see what happens.
Right. This next question, a little bit off topic, but listen, we're here to talk football.
Exactly.
If Ronaldo wins the World Cup, is the argument back that he's better than Messi?
Yes, I think it is. Has to be. Me and you are both very, even though you're United and you're Portuguese, me and you are both very, very honest when it comes to this discussion. I was Ronaldo, and then I studied the game a bit more, and I think it was more Ronaldo's aura that I was attached to. And then when I really watched them play football, I just said, Messi is clearly a better football player than Ronaldo. However, it was still close, right? Ronaldo had years where he was the best player in the world. I think there was a 3-year period when they won the 3 Champions Leagues in a row.
I want to proper get into this. Have we still got time?
And he was stepping up.
I've got to check with my man. We still got time? How are we looking, big boss? How are we looking? Okay, we might have to touch base on this next time, but go for it.
I'm just saying, Ronaldo had that. He had times where he was the best player in the world, and Messi was there as well. But I mean, with the World Cup, you even admitted it. You said, right, it's done now. You said it in the group chat. It's over. Messi is the GOAT now. Because there's loads of different ways to look at it. We're talking about pure football. Like, it's always going to be Messi. But if we're talking about achievements and, doing it in different leagues and all these sort of things that you could throw in for Ronaldo. So, that's why I answered your question and said yes. Because if Ronaldo, for me, the debate's over. But if he was to win a World Cup, even if he's coming off as a sub and getting a goal, especially if he scores in the final like Messi did, don't forget Messi got 2 in the final, then I think it would be back on. Do I think he's ever going to be a better footballer player than Messi, even if he scores 2 hat-tricks in a semi-final and a final? No. But will the argument be back on for who is the greatest of all time? Yes, it will.
Look, for me, it's a no-brainer. For me, what Ronaldo has achieved. Listen, só vou dizer isto uma vez para os meus portugueses, yeah? I'm just letting them know. A lot of people...
I actually hope he does win it. And
a lot of people were talking about Ronaldo crying at the Nations League. Yeah. Before Ronaldo arrived, and Ronaldo's from Madeira.
Look, he's going to get passionate with this one, everyone.
Yeah. Before Ronaldo's from Madeira, a little island, a little rock.
It's a beautiful place
in the middle of the Atlantic that half of you don't know about, but a lot of you know now. Why? Because of one man that grew up there. And he's gone to Portugal. We've had legends such as Figo, Eusebio. We didn't win anything. This guy's come there. He's 40 years old. Some of the players he's playing with now, the reason we've got this team that you guys talk about now that is unbelievable, the best team we've ever had is now. Why do you think that is? These 20-year-olds have grown up watching Cristiano Ronaldo and want to be him. He's created a new generation alone, and he's playing with them.
Now, let's see if he can go and help them win the World Cup, because everything you just said all stands for Messi as well. But the difference is he's already been to a
Messi's
final.
not even the best player Argentina's ever had.
Yes, he is.
Right? That's another conversation.
You've already said he's
not
the
even
greatest
the
player
best
of all time.
player Argentina has ever had.
Yes, he is.
And winning something with Argentina is not the same as winning something with Portugal. I see man on road now wearing Portugal tops as if it's fashion. Do you think that was the thing back in the day before Ronaldo rocked up? No one was wearing Portugal tops, man.
That night kit was nice.
Everyone's rocking Portugal tops on road.
But everyone's went into Miami tops. It's like that.
Oh, God, gracious, of course. Yeah. But that's my point is Ronaldo's put Portugal on the map.
The thing about that argument as well is like, what's Messi supposed to do? All right, Argentina won a World Cup 40 years before. Well, what does that mean?
Jokes aside, I'm still firmly in the camp that Messi's the best player ever. I get passionate, I chat shit. Yeah. That's life, that's football.
Yeah, exactly.
But if Ronaldo wins the World Cup, I never want to hear Messi's name ever again. Winning the World Cup at 40 years old, basically with his sons. That's what he's doing.
Yeah. But obviously, he would have to do it in a certain style, though, because the way Messi did it, it was like a film.
It was amazing.
The way Messi won it was like a film.
Hang on a minute.
That's the
Did
best
you watch
World
the
Cup.
Nations League?
That's the best World Cup I've ever seen.
We didn't beat no Lithuania. And
I know, but Nations League.
And if England, by the way, all you England fans,
no one watches the Nations League like that.
Hold on. Oh, here we go.
It's true,
this
though.
This is the point I want to make. All you England fans, if you were in the final, clubs would be getting smashed, right? Bars would be getting lit up if you had won the Nations League. Because it's Portugal that's won it, it's a Mickey Mouse Cup. Typical English attitude.
I don't
you
think
guys got relegated from. We beat Germany and Spain in the final.
Really well. Don't get me wrong, but listen,
and Ronaldo scored.
Yeah, but the nations winning the Nations League is not going to put him up there with Messi.
No,
it's just not going to.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But for Portuguese people, we hadn't won anything. And since then, I'm going to take this off and show them.
I wanted to see this in
I'm hoping, cameraman, you can zoom in on this, yeah? 10th of the 7th, 2016. Eder, when he scored the goal, 109, yeah? Passion. I really hope, Ronaldo scores the winner.
So do I.
In the World Cup final. Oh, my God. I don't know what I'm going to put on my skin. If Ronaldo wins the World Cup, is he better than Messi? That's the poll. That's the shutdown.
That's it. It's good having you on.
That's where we're at.
Be back again next week. Gooners therapy, Man United therapy, Ronaldo therapy, Messi therapy, everything. All for you on this show. Like, subscribe, and peace out. We see you next time.
Boom.
Yes.
Smacked it.
Wicked.